Well, the day has come to welcome Dr. McDougall back to the monthly, bi-weekly webinars, and we are super excited. I personally am excited and honored. I'm Gustavo Tolosa, back with Dr. McDougall and guests, and I can see hundreds of you logging in, and we all want to tell Dr. McDougall how much we appreciate his time for being here today. So, want to welcome you, Dr. McDougall. How are you?
I'm back.
You are back.
Back big time. It's going to be 2 times a month. We're going to do this with me and you. We're the team, man. And we're going to invite some great guests on, like we got Neil Bernard and Dean Orange and Essie and Esselstyn and Campbell and boy, Oppenheimer, Richard Oppenheimer,
Goldhammer.
I mean, we have all kinds of people that may have seen at their advanced study weekends, may have met along the way. Scott Stoll. I mean, I've sent you at least 30 names so far. And everybody I've invited to be a guest has said, well, of course.
Of course.
We'd love to be doing Gustavo.
How can they say no to the legend?
All right.
No.
Well, anyway, the legend is going to have some help. We're going to have some guests. And we'll be promoting their books, like Dean Arneson wife, Ann, have a new book coming out.
Yes.
And, Neil Bernard is always up to something. And so it's Essie Campbell. So you're going to learn about what they're doing and what we're doing and all kinds of things from the webinars. But it's mostly educational. And I have to tell you, it's it may add promotion to the McDougall program. That's fine. But Gustavo and I are doing this out of the love for you guys, our patients. It feels so good to do good things for other people. It's with a real pleasure, and so we're in for a good time, right, Gustavo?
We are. This is going to be awesome, and I think everybody will enjoy this time together every other week. So, but tell us, I think everybody wants to know how you are doing, how your family is doing. Just tell us give us a little update.
The year 2017 and before have been really tough times for me. Those of you who have written me and are involved in my practice, you've had tougher times, which has kind of taken me off track of business. I was involved with the California wildfires. I lost my home and everything else material-wise. Had a couple of injuries in our family and a couple other things that took my mind off of business. But I put those behind me, and I'm mad as hell. Did I say that? I'm mad as hell. I'm coming back with a vengeance. So if you find me with an attitude, that's because I'm going to win this time. I've been fighting the drug companies. I've been fighting the doctors, the hospitals. They beat me. Food companies have beaten me because they got all the money. Well, I have an attitude. And I also have a population of people who have changed. You guys. But they say 65% of people are looking towards more vegetables in their diet. That was the headlines this week. I wasn't talking to an audience that wanted to listen in the past. Now I have an audience that really wants to listen a lot, not only for their own health, not only because they understand the importance of eating starches, vegetables, etc., but they're scared to death, and you ought to be scared to death about losing our planet. And every day in the newspaper, every day in the newscasts is a discussion about global warming and how we have little time. And every time they say how much time we have, it's less time. It used to be this is going to happen a century from now. Now they're talking about years, a few years, like Florida is going to disappear, etc. The wildfires that we went through in California, which hit me personally, they're going to be more common and bigger. You can see that. Everybody's concerned. And they're talking about global warming, about how we're going to solve it by, more Teslas and electric cars and more solar panels. Well, good. I'm glad. And there are a lot of people working really hard on that. And I can't tell you how excited I am when I hear about their work and the progress they're making with wind turbines and solar energy and, everybody taking a little bit more care of things. But one thing they don't mention is food. Yeah, the livestock industry is the number one killer of this planet. The pigs and the cows and harvesting the fish. That's number one. That's the number one thing in global warming. It accounts for over half the global warming gases. And yet somehow nobody mentions it. I mean, think about it. Something change overnight. We can stop eating the pigs and the cows, and instead we can eat potatoes and corn. Yeah, and that would cut the global warming gases in half tomorrow. It would give us a chance. I'm mad as hell. And I want to tell you, I'm going to make myself real clear. If you don't like it, don't tune in. Or don't tell your friends about me. Because my position is clear and I'm as aggressive as I've ever been. At 71 years old. Life is started. I'll be 72 in a few days.
Well, we are glad that you are back, Dr. McDougall, with this attitude, because we need you.
I got a really bad attitude.
Depending how you look at it.
Yeah. Well, it depends on which side of the team you're on.
Exactly.
If you're worried about losing your job as a pig cutter, pig gut contaminated bacteria, you should feel ashamed of yourselves. No, not really. It's no more than a bartender should be ashamed to have a job as a bartender. I mean, you got to work.
Yeah.
But I sent out a newsletter today, which is what is today, Mary? It's November something.
November 29th.
2018. So you should get a newsletter. If you don't, it's on my website, as this webinar will be, which talks about global warming. And it refers to another newsletter we sent out that, again, was an article I wrote 12 years ago. Excuse me, when you read it, you'll say, why in the heck did I not know this? Well, I knew it. I tried to tell all of you, and I know lots of you listened. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to share. Don't back down. I provided the data in detail. I know it's 12 years ago, but excuse me, I was slightly ahead of my time, and I should have been, and with your help, we could have been ahead of this game. We're not. So no more can you say, well, it's somebody else's problem. Please join Gustavo and I and the rest of the McDougall team, and let's beat them this time. And I really mean beat them. So
it's everybody's problem.
Yeah, I mean, they're even talking about it in Argentina.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And China. And in fact, I think there's every country that's ahead of us in solving the problem, ahead of the United States. We're lowest in education. We're losing our financial position in the world. And we don't give a damn about global warming, or at least some of the population doesn't. At least some of those that are controlling this country don't. Well, I don't care. And if I could have somebody on my show that you know his name, and I won't mention it, I would. And boy, would I give him an interview and his team.
Exactly. Dr. McDougall, you retired from practicing medicine, right?
Yeah, I don't see patients anymore. It's because I spent half a century seeing patients, or more than that. Oh, maybe half a century. It isn't the greatest joy in my life. I just, there are better people to see patients than myself. Like my son, Craig, who's a professor at OHSU Medical School there. He's a professor, Craig, and we'll have him on the show. And Tom Campbell, who's a young doctor, we'll have him on the show. They see patients. Dr. Anthony Lim at our program at the McDougall program in Santa Rosa. I mean, he's one of the best doctors I've ever met. And Craig is too. And so is Tom, Matt Letterman, and so on. Exactly. Amazing physicians that we have work with us. So, I have to step aside because I am not as good as some of the other people I know at seeing people, taking care of them. If you come to the McDougall program, you'll not only meet Dr. Lim, you'll meet other doctors that we have working with us. And they're good at taking care of medications, and I'm up to date on most things. No.
Are there any professional developments in your life other than now that you are not going to see patients? Are you involved in any other
Well,
that you can talk about?
some. Let's see, Mary can remind me. But I'm going to try and get involved in more legislation. I've already
All
threatened.
right.
I've already threatened the people at OHSU on the treatment
Mhm.
of MS. I have threatened them. These are my friends. You can read the paper we did on randomized control trial. You can read it on the internet that I did with the neurology department at OHSU. Well, I went in and talked to them a few weeks ago. And these are my friends, VJ, Dennis, and they helped me publish the study. They helped me spend $750,000 to do it, which is less than the money it costs to take care of one MS patient for 10 years. In fact, those are old data. Probably to take care of one MS patient for 6 months. The drugs are so expensive. Somebody told me, in fact, I got an email, it's on the discussion board, that the drug for MS that they were taking cost $125,000 per year. Yeah. Just for the drug. Well, anyways, I got into a confrontation with my friends at OHSU, and I pointed out, look, you helped me with the study. You've seen people cured, in my opinion, of MS, stop the progress. You have told me that you wanted to be known as the Diet MS Center of the world. The department head, Dennis Bordette, told me one day he'd never had a patient come in and hug him for giving the patient interferon beta, which is one of the most popular MS drugs. Never had a patient say thank you. Well, not in a sincere way. But since he started the study with us, which we started maybe 8 years ago and finished 4 years ago, he said, I would have people almost daily come in from the study who were in tears of thank you, of gratefulness. I said, do you remember that? Do you remember that the McDougall program works to stop MS? And myself and Dr. Swank, who you can watch videos of on my site, and he's published 176 papers. We've only published one. I said, do you remember that? That's your background. Dr. Swank was from OHSU. And so you know the truth. Your eyes are open. That was 4 years ago we published the paper. And then I brought along with me a paper out of one of the British journals, an editorial. I think it was the BMJ or Lancet. Regardless, you can find it, on the long-term effects of drug therapy on MS patients. And the answer is none. Not as far as primary outcomes are concerned, our primary means dying and being incapacitated. What they do is they brag about secondary outcomes, benefits. Secondary, like you see fewer relapses. But the progression of the disease is the same, whether you have drugs or not. You die the same day or maybe even earlier. Secondary. Relapses, secondary new lesions. Well, so you don't see lesions on MRIs. Big deal. You're happy. Everybody claps. But is it worth $125,000 per year just for the drug? Not to mention the complication, hospitalizations, etc. No. Well, so anyway, I showed them this paper that showed there were no long-term benefits from MS drug therapy. I'm talking about primary outcomes, and you can find the editorial easily. So I said, look, on one hand, you can keep drugging people like you are. You haven't stopped. And or you could teach them what you know to be true, which is the diet causes MS, the bad diet, the Western diet. And you can stop the disease, and it's been shown by Dr. Swank and 5,000 people. Dr. Swank used to be the head of neurology at OHSU. For 23 years, he was the head. He was my friend. So I said, you're going to discount all that. You know better. You know better. This is a moral issue. Nothing's changed. Well, something. As I was leaving, I said, you know me well. I'm not going to sit here and let this happen. I'm going to go forward. And that may involve legislation. I'm certainly going to make the health departments aware of this fraud that's going on. Those weren't kind words. They weren't smiling at that point, but they're still my friends. They still are. And by the way, I live 2 blocks from OHSU, two city blocks.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because I got chased out of California by a wildfire. So
Yes.
anyway, I'm gonna get involved in more legislation. I'm gonna speak out more clearly, freely, emotionally. If you
Would you accept invitations to speak in public in places, or
well,
are you?
I probably am going next year. I haven't in a while.
Okay, all right.
I was given the Lifetime Achievement Award from the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, and that's going to be presented in October of 2019 in Orlando. Well, they have Disney World in Orlando, so if I go, I'll take Greg wants to go. Greg McDougall, MD, my son, and his wife, Mika McDougall, MD, my daughter-in-law. They want to go, and they have 2 kids, and yeah, I might accept the Orlando invitation.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Primarily because of Disney World. And I have a few friends down there, and I have a lot of friends at the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. So I was given the award, and I'm honored.
It is an honor, yes. Yes.
For lifestyle, whatever. Achievement of something. So
Exactly.
I got that planned, and I've got a plan, possibly I'm going to Las Vegas to help with the
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Okay.
And I get invited here and there all the time. I just, I'll do pretty much anything on webinar,
Yes.
Skype for free. So if you have a sizable group that will listen to me, you can contact me. I don't answer any emails anymore, but I see them. But, about patients and patients.
Right. Right.
But if you want to call and donate $10,000 or $10 million to the McDougall Research Foundation, I'll answer you.
Exactly.
If you want my opinion on the warts on your left foot, nah, I'm not going to tell you.
No.
So I'm
Okay.
going to do that, and I'm going to lecture more, and I'm going to write some more. But it's not going to be like I did before. I held back a little bit before.
Yes.
I'm not going to hold back anymore. I may not be as certainly I'm not as young. I may not have all the physical attributes I used to have, but I'm just mad as hell.
And you're going to make some people mad, I'm sure.
I hope so. Well, now they just ignore me because
Exactly.
ignored me. But I hope I put a big dent in their pocketbooks. That's the only way they'll respond. All they care about, honestly, like all of us, is the money, and they got all the
Right.
money.
Right.
So if I put a few companies out of business, so be it.
Yes.
If I pay the consequence for it, that's the way it goes. And I know it's going to happen because it's happened to 2 of my best friends. When I say best friends, I say professional best friends who I'm going to have on the show. One is Peter Gortsky, the founder and former head of the Cochrane Collaboration for 15 years. The Cochrane Collaboration has been the #1 source of information for doctors.
Yes. Right.
Look it up. Cochrane Reviews, Cochrane. He was the head. He founded it along with some other people, co-founded it. He got fired a couple months ago. I mean, he just still doesn't know why he got fired, except that he was a whistleblower on breast cancer treatments and early detection, and a whistleblower against the drug companies, particularly those who offer antidepressants and other mental changing drugs. I mean, he wrote a whole book about how they were criminals. He was on Jon Stewart's show, Comedy Central, when they were on. But he's a very, very famous man. If you look on the website, I did an interview with him on YouTube. You can find it on our website. And he called me one day and he says, John, he says, the Cochrane Collaboration I just can't believe it. He says, the Cochrane Collaboration has never, ever gotten this much publicity. We've never put out anything that got this many hits, which is about 300,000 now. Well, I said, Peter, I have some great great followers. I have some wonderful people out there that share the message. And so I'm sure they told friends to watch your video. And I encourage you to do it. Just go to our site, look under videos, experts, and you'll find Peter's name there. There's several interviews he did. Well, anyway, he got fired. And he doesn't know why, except he was a whistleblower. And then H. Gilbert Welch, again, you can find many videos I did. He has published in the big 5 medical journals. He's been on our advanced study weekends at least twice. He has the loudest opinion about the dishonesty of mammograms in the medical literature. I mean, he says that overdiagnosis occurs at a rate of 4 to 1. In other words, 4 cases of breast cancer, only 1 is real. The other 3 would have never affected people. And he's been telling people that. He's been writing about it in the New England Journal of Medicine, the British Medical Journal, and on and on and on.
Right.
So that's H. Gilbert Welch. Well, I'm going to try and have him on the show. I don't know if he'll appear anymore, but there are two videos on H. Gilbert, and he basically was put out of business last month. He was accused of doing plagiarism. Mm-hmm. I don't know the details of it, but I know H. Gilbert Welch. If he was being accused of plagiarizing something, it was either an error or somebody else on his team did it, or they certainly looked hard to find the piece of it, because he basically denies the importance of it. I hope to have him on the show, but you can listen to interviews of H. Gilbert on my website under education videos, experts.
Right.
Where'd you go? So it's two of the most powerful men in the world in science and medicine were just put out of business. And they really don't know why. So you wonder if my being outspoken would be of any threat to me. Hasn't been in the past. Why? I haven't spoken out enough or loud enough. And I haven't had enough of your help. I want more help. I want you to help me get in a position where they want to fire me. They want to get me whatever. They want to accuse me of whatever. I don't care, because at least somebody will be listening.
Exactly. Yes.
Exactly. We're not playing games anymore, ladies and gentlemen. I got not me, or probably even you, Gustavo, or most of our listeners. We're not going to live to see this. I mean, the full extent of this. But my children are.
Yes, that's correct.
So, do I care whether the drug companies make $35,000 on drugs to treat rheumatoid arthritis, or $125,000 on drugs to treat MS? I don't care if they lose the money, and I do care about the employees. But you can find other jobs. But if I can make them mad enough, when I'm going to make them mad enough is with your help. And that's to take some of their profits away and hopefully put a few of them out of business for killing people. I mean, these are criminals. I know they don't intend to be, they don't think of themselves as criminals, but criminals take people's money and they hurt them. And we put criminals in jail. Did I say that? I think I said that before.
You've said it before.
I really mean it this time. Don't give me access to the prison system.
Dr. McDougall, let me say something. People are asking if there is a specific topic today. No, today is just a welcoming back to you to being in the webinar. And if anybody wants to type questions here, I'll try to do my best to read them. But we're just chatting today.
Gustavo, everything that I know is written on the website.
Everything. Yeah, we have like 500 webinars recorded and newsletters, and
it's all free. So what am I going to say but repeat myself? Let me just tell you, in the 2.5 years, there are only a few things that I think are significant to do a show on. One is the new guidelines for targets for treating blood pressure. The Spirit study, I think it's Spirit study. Anyway, they now say you have to more aggressively treat blood pressure to a target level instead of 140 down to 130 systolic, and instead of 90 diastolic, they want you to go 80 or below. Well, maybe there's some benefits, cardiovascular disease, but there are serious adverse effects And what do? You sell more drugs. I don't recommend the new targets. I think they're dangerous. I think if you look at the American Board of Family Practice, that's their position. It's dangerous to shoot for these lower targets. I would guess Cochrane says the same thing. You can find hundreds of experts, universities, etc., who have said that this new target of a lower blood pressure is wrong. And they're not going to do it. They're not going to recommend it to their members. So I would talk to you about that. I maybe would write a newsletter about that. I don't think much. Finally, people are waking up.
Yes.
Warming the importance, but they don't know the impact of livestock. Even Peter Gortsky, the head of Cochrane, or used to be, he got fired. We were talking a couple days ago, and he's been working hard to help you with the tests and the drugs that are dishonest. Working hard, but I can't get Peter to understand the food thing. I said, Peter, the food thing tops feeding the farmers.
Right, exactly.
By 100-fold. Why don't you get involved in something really big? I think you will. If you get Peter on our side, you've got one mean SOB. You think that guy is just,
yes.
Watch the interviews. So I don't know what I talk to you about. I don't know what newsletters I've written to you in the last 2.5 years, because I've already written basically everything. Oh, and by the way, when I have guests on this show, which we're going to have every time, hopefully every time, I'm going to be tough. I'm going to answer some really, really tough questions. Now, you'll have to remember all the time, Joe Furman, by the way, is accepted to be on my show. He's already said, yes, I'd be honored. I don't think I'd be honored in words, but it's willing to be. I'm going to ask him some tough questions. He's on our side, but we have some serious disagreements about a few minor things that you get all upset about. So, same thing with Michael Greger, who I believe is accepted. I'm not sure. I'm going to ask Michael questions that keep bringing up, that are irritating to me, like where do you get your vitamin D, and whether you should take omega-3 fats, etc. Michael and I have a few disagreements, including what causes osteoporosis and whether protein is significant or not. Well, Michael, if you're listening or you hear about it, I think you've already accepted to be on the part of one. Don't change your mind.
Yes, he has accepted.
Yeah. Well, he already knows how I feel about topics and more, and he knows that I will address them on our discussion. As I will.
Yes.
I'll ask Dean Ornish some very tough questions. Campbell and Esselstyn and Bernard. If it's not tough enough, you write into the Gustavo on the chat board, and I'll as long as this doesn't be censored, I will ask them whatever.
Well, I think this is crucial, Dr. McDougall, because so many people see these conflicting point of view as something that they're really confusing to the general public. And we need you to ask those tough questions.
Yeah, stop getting confused over minor issues.
Right, exactly.
The earth is burning. God, get over it. Get on the side of the game that makes a difference, which is to eat less animals and more starch, vegetables, and fruits. It's not to take more supplements. It's not to see more doctors. It's not to build more hospitals. And forget about the disagreements as to whether or not you should add a omega-3 supplement to your diet. I think there's been enough research out there in the last year on vitamin D and omega-3s to tell you this is harmful behavior. Consistently, the research has said that taking vitamin D supplements is at best useless.
It is true, yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about those things. My guests are not going to have an easy ride.
Yes.
I'm real cancer.
Dr. McDougall, some people here are asking what your view or your opinion is about meat grown in labs.
Oh boy! Hey, Mary, come on over here. meat grown in labs. Would you cook me lunch today? It would be vegan, but with a pork chop grown in
no,
labs.
they're talking about real meat.
Oh, real
grown
meat.
in labs.
That's enough. I think it's
Hi,
foolish.
everybody.
Hello, Mary. So nice to see you.
Nice to see you
Yeah,
too.
she's going to be with me on all of my our trips too. Maybe I can get her to talk.
Yes, yes.
So the answer is you're doing nothing right. Bill Gates, who's investing a lot of money into fake meats, good intentions, wrong outcome it will be. You know, the food that we need to eat is already here. It's called starches, vegetables, fruits.
Right.
There's a great series on YouTube, by the way. We take the YouTube channel on what the diets were like during medieval times. And they talk about the diets of the peasants and the diets of the kings. And you'll get done with listening to this series of shows. I don't know.
Yeah, it's called Modern History.
Modern History. Oh, diet of the Middle Ages.
Medieval times, or
You'll say they plagiarized Google. That's what they did 300, 500 years ago. Anyway, we're winning, but we got to win bigger and faster. So
Yes.
for lunch.
I don't know what I would make for lunch.
Yeah, tell us what you're going to have for lunch.
You know, by good fortune, and those of you who live near the Portland, Oregon area, which is where we are now, there's a lady named Emily, and she is a caterer professionally, and she's worked for Craig McDougall in his attempts to get the Portland citizens to come to sanity, eating right. So Emily used to cook for them, and she now cooks for us.
Well, her business is actually called Love and Plants.
Okay. So anyway, that's how we get some of our food, at least half of it.
Yeah,
And then we go out once
she
in a while.
makes great stuff
Okay.
that follows our recipes and our guidelines, and it's really nice because I don't have to always cook anymore.
No, but
She does a really good job.
You're still in this pot.
I still have an Instant Pot, yes. And I'm thinking about mashed potatoes and gravy.
For tonight?
Well, no, we're having, Craig's making.
Oh yeah, Craig's making noodles.
Craig's
We're going to see Neil.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, oh, he was really good at
We
something.
saw him last night.
He's got another lecture tonight, so we're going, and they're coming over first. And we're going to have buckwheat noodles and tofu, and it's all vegan, of course. The whole diet is vegan, including all their kids.
Wonderful, wonderful. Wow. Well, some people were asking where you live now. So you just mentioned it's in Oregon.
All right, shall I show them where I live?
Oh, yes. Please show that view.
Connected or
Well,
something.
really.
We live in Portland,
It's a
Oregon.
beautiful, in
You know,
Portland, Oregon.
I only, when I added up the figures, fortunately I had some fire insurance. But when I added up the figures, I lost probably $1 million. But I gained, more close access to one of my sets of grandchildren. That's Craig and Mika's kids. They live up here. And, we got a whole different kind of living. We've always lived in the country.
Well, smaller town.
The
At
smaller towns. We've been forest church mouses. We moved.
This is a big change. To
Oh, it is.
We now live in a condo, and we're kind of city living. We get around taking the tram.
Right,
Walk,
right.
yeah,
And using Uber.
and using Uber. And you know what? I'm certain we bought the condo like 6 months ago, but I'm certain the price has doubled since then. It should have. I'll show you
No,
what.
you can't.
Can't?
You're going to get all. Maybe next time you can actually
Maybe
set
next
it up that way.
Well, no, I could do it.
Maybe next time we can start with the view.
Maybe next time I'll show you the view, and I'll show
that'll
you.
get
Yes.
everyone to tune in because they'll want to see the view.
That's right. We have our next webinar in,
We have a view outside of our windows. It's like living in an aquarium. We have a view of the river. What's the,
Willamette.
River.
Willamette River. You have to learn all these new pronunciations.
or Goon, gone, whatever. They speak another language up here. We're trying to learn. We're trying to fit in. We're trying to be good.
But it's a lot different than Santa Rosa. And I noticed that someone asked if we were going to rebuild in Santa Rosa, and no, we are not.
We own the property.
Well, but the program is going on in Santa
Oh,
Rosa.
big, big
Oh,
time.
yeah.
It's so busy, it's sold out every time.
Our daughter Heather is running it really well.
Yeah, it's
Well, some people maybe they thought that you had moved the program to Oregon, but no.
Fortunately, our program did not burn down. Almost, it was within feet of being burned too.
But we could have just moved it somewhere
Yeah, we
else.
can move it to Oregon.
We could have moved it.
Well, you can move the program anywhere you want, actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it's like we have 60 people starting in December. It's sold out. We did a program for CenturyLink, which is a big telecommunication company, last program, and the feedback I get is tremendous. They can see what we've done for their employees, and our expectations are we'll have many more programs and many more employees from CenturyLink and other companies. You know, Comcast, I hear, has opened up a opportunity for the employees to choose whatever kind of health coverage they want. So we're looking for Comcast, in fact, the company, to come to us to teach their sick employees, which will change their profit margins. Big time. It has for CenturyLink, they've said so. In fact, I have it in writing. I've got a nice letter from John Mackey, co-founder of Whole Foods. I have a personal letter explaining that we have helped the bottom line financially. Not to mention the employees, which was probably taking care of 1,000 of them. Well, think about
Well,
it.
maybe not.
Well, we run probably 10,
500 at least.
15. Well, at least. I guess not.
All right.
It doesn't make any difference. The important thing is they can already see the benefits of not only our
Right. Yeah. And do you speak still, Dr. McDougall, of some of the 10-day program, or
Sometimes.
sometimes?
But you know what
Okay.
I found out, Gustavo? You don't need me. You know, need me. I think it runs better without me. So when I show up, it's with some distress in my staff.
Okay.
They do
Well,
a
very.
really great job.
They do a great job.
They are doing
We
a
do
great
a
job.
quick, less personal interview over the internet with them, you know, just to say hello, and that works out really well.
Mhm.
You know, that way,
Right.
it's no threat for me, and they get to miss you, which is a big deal.
No, Heather does a great job
Heather does a great job.
on my talks about, and she's had her own personality and
She's
her
phenomenal.
own
Can you believe?
feelings about feeding kids and all that stuff.
Can you believe that our child has grown into an adult that's better than we are?
No, but it's great.
All of them have. And those of you who are near our age with kids and grandkids, you know what I mean. They,
Correct. Yes.
third generation, they've taken over. So why not? Should we step aside?
Well, Dr. McDougall, I think we're going to have to close the webinar.
Yeah,
And
we're going to get started big time in 2 weeks.
in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, we'll be back, and we start with this amazing lineup of guests. And boy, are we going to have some fun.
Isn't it? Hey, but my goal. I mean, I have some people I haven't been able to get to come on.
Yes.
Like Donald Trump. I'd like him on.
Uh-huh.
And
Well,
any of his friends who agree with him, I'd like him
we
on.
may be able to get him. Who knows?
Well, you know, he tweets everybody. I mean, you might as well talk to me.
Right. Why not?
And I'll have make you the interview so that he doesn't get too frightened. Because I'm
Uh-huh.
going to do everything I can to challenge him. I might even challenge a lie or two. A lie. Well, you fill in the blank. So yeah, I'd like to have him on my show. I'd like to have Barack Obama on my show. If you recall, in fact, in the newsletter, Barry Obama was his name at the time. He was 15 years old. He was one of my students at Punahou High School. So I'd like to have him on my show. I'd like to have Al Gore on my show. The newsletter that comes out next in a couple of weeks is about Al Gore. And it's about Robert. Anyways, it's a War Watch from the World War II.
Uh-huh.
Some videos that you really need to watch. If you want ammunition for how to solve global warming. Next two newsletters. It happened to be newsletters I wrote 12 years ago, but
You were just behind the time.
I was a little ahead of the time.
Ahead of the time.
You were behind the times. No guilt, but just get out there and do. Those who do know have an obligation to do. You know.
Exactly.
Exactly. Put it into this frame. Exactly.
Exactly. Well, I know that people had questions, and we're just going to ask them to email them, and we may be able to handle some of them in some way. I don't know. But there is a email for people to send questions to, and it's webinars.
And somebody will answer them, and occasionally I will answer them, but don't expect it.
No. But if it's a question that is not related to medical care, and maybe we will ask here in the webinar. Yeah.
$1 million to the foundation.
Exactly.
In the time of the year, folks, it's when you have a last chance to make donations that are tax deductible in the year 2017. We have a tax deductible foundation?
2018.
Or whatever.
2018.
Oh, whatever. Close enough. We have a foundation. It's not just temporary. It's been in existence for 10 years. It's got full credentials. We're trying to start really big time with Craig heading it and various universities involved. We're going to study our population in terms of cardiovascular disease. And I don't mean just cholesterol or heart attacks, but the wall thickness, artery wall thickness. In fact, we did a study on that, which showed in 7 days you can change artery wall thickness. The other thing we'll check is venous pressure and flows that occur after you eat. And so in 7 days, we're going to prove that you can change cardiovascular risks, disease in 7 days at our program, or you can do it at home, it's free. So we're going to be working on that too.
All right. Very good. Well, thank you, Dr. McDougall, for your time. Thank you very much.
Wait a minute. Gustavo, my good friend, thank you very much. Because without your help, this would never happen. And we would be at loss, wouldn't we? You folks want to write Gustavo a note and say, I love you.
It's my pleasure and honor. Yeah, we will be back in 2 weeks, and we will be announcing who the guest will be. And it's always on your website, drmcdougall.com, under the education tab. So everybody can go and register there. Thank you, Mary, for also joining us today.
Thank you, everybody.
Oh boy, 46 years of fun. Thank you very much. All right, good guys. Okay. We're gonna win. We are gonna win.
We will.
Back. Come on, let's go forward. Oh boy.
Here we go. Thank you. All right. Goodbye, everyone.